NFL Talk with Elite Wages.
Yo, yo, yo! What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of NFL Talk of Elite Wages. We are now into NFL Week 12. So, we're obviously more than halfway into the season. We've had some very, very good results recently. I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but I've been on a heater 6 weeks in a row, profit, totaling over 15 units within those six weeks as well. So, absolutely on a tear at the moment. I'll go back and go over last week's plays, NFL Week 11. So I'll do a recap of those now.
Weekly NFL Recap.
So we actually had 6 winners, 4 losses last week. We went for plus 1.75 units. I'll just go through my plays. Starting with Thursday Night Football. We had a winner with the Eagles -3. So starting off the week with a winner. Got a little bit dicey. Eventually, Saquon Barkley managed to score 2 touchdowns in 20 seconds after an interception was thrown by Daniels. Obviously, that set the Eagles up inside the Commanders' half for, I think it was a 29-yard rushing touchdown from Saquon. Eagles scored 3 touchdowns on 3 drives late in that game, but up until that point, their offense was pretty non-existent. Eventually ended up with the cover. I wouldn't say it was easy, but won by 8. Obviously covering the -3, so starting off with a winner, always a good sign. Next up, I had a double play in this one. It was the double dip. So I had 1 unit on Colts plus 4.5, and I had half a unit on Colts money line. So we had a double cash on the double dip. Colts managed to pull off an impressive outright win as 4.5 point underdogs. This game was looking comfortable for the Colts. They jumped out to a 13-0 lead. That was very early on in the game, but they did allow the Jets back into the game. They allowed them to score a touchdown just before the half, and then a fumble recovery touchdown just after the half. The Jets found themselves leading 24-16. The Colts then put together 2 impressive drives to score back-to-back touchdowns, and they eventually beat the Jets 28-27. Jets are now mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, so double cash on the Colts, and we wave goodbye to the Jets as well. Next play was in my Packers game. So this one I've got mixed feelings on this one. So as a Packers fan, I'm very happy with the win considering how mediocre we played. But obviously disappointed with the opportunities we squandered to blow the cover. I mentioned last week how Jordan Love and his interceptions were becoming a bit of a problem. Again, caused us a problem on Sunday. We could have been 14-3 up, but then Jordan Love threw a pick inside the end zone, and it actually took a 7-10 swing towards the Bears after, like I said, Love being picked off in the end zone. Little mistakes all over the field caused us to be a lot sweatier than it needed to be. We allowed Caleb Williams to run for first downs on a few occasions. We weren't as tight as we normally have been this season. Eventually won after a blocked field goal. A bit of a bad time management from the Bears, in my opinion. They had about 30 seconds left in that game. They could have easily rushed a little bit further forward. But yeah, eventually won after a blocked field goal. Lost the -4.5, but Packers won the game. So again, like I said, mixed feelings for me on this one. I'd have liked to have cashed that -4.5 though. Next one, we go over to another NFC North, and pretty much the front runners for the NFC in general. Lions team total over 30.5. Now this market is becoming free money. I can't stress this enough. I've played this quite a few times this season, cashed majority of the time. Lions, they put up the NFL season high 52 points from a team. They've actually achieved this twice so far this season. This is the second time they've done it. The Lions are by far the hottest offense in the league, and this is just a simple mismatch in terms of the matchup. Jaguars defense was never going to be able to contain this offense, who went for 645 total yards on offense. This bet actually cashed early on in the third quarter, sweat free. Look out from me. I'm going to take this market again soon, so keep an eye out, keep a listen out. This is this is a market that I'm looking at weekly. So I will more than likely be taking this again a few times before the season ends. Next one was a loss. It was a Ravens Steelers over 48. Quite simply, it was apparent that this was never hitting from the get-go. It turned out to be a defensive battle. It ensured it went way under 45 points. Chris Boswell kicked 6 field goals as the Steelers took a 2-point win as 2.5 underdogs to the Ravens. Next one was another loss. Texans and Cowboys under 42. This is on Monday Night Football. This game could and should have went under 42. The game actually ended 34-10 after the Texans running back Joe Mixon hammered in his 3rd touchdown of the game, and it was in garbage time late in the game. Ultimately, Texans outplayed Dallas as expected, and the Dallas Cowboys played really poorly. They struggled in all areas of the field, struggled on offense, struggled on defense, special teams struggled everywhere. The under, it actually had a chance the whole game, but ultimately went over by 2 points. Now over to the player props that I played. Starting off with Derek Carr over 205.5. Now this was pretty easy cash. The Saints got back to winning ways. They took down the Browns 14-35. Derek Carr and Taysom Hill actually played a really nice games. Either one. Taysom Hill finished with 206 total yards, so rushing, receiving, and passing yards. Derek Carr played efficiently and effectively. He threw 75% on the day. He cashed our 205 passing yards easily. He finished with 248. Easy win for New Orleans. Easy win for Derek Carr. The next one, this was a good one. I really like this one actually. Coming into last week, it was Demario Douglas. He had, the line I had was over 3.5 receptions, and that was at plus money. That was at plus 120. It was a risky play heading into the day, but I mentioned how I saw the potential upside in Douglas's game. Douglas actually ended up with 5 receptions on 7 targets in this game. Not much more needs to be said. Drake May looked out for his guy. His guy delivered, so cashed that fairly easily, and cashed a plus money play as well. The last player prop was a loss, and this was in the Bills and the Chiefs game. So in one way, I'm actually happy that the Chiefs were actually finally they were taken down, and again they didn't look very good. They haven't looked good all season, and finally they got dealt a loss. I'm not entirely mad that I lost this one. For my breakdown on this game, I said points are going to be a necessity. I was confident that the Bills would be able to move Bass into field goal range frequently. This was actually the case. They got into the Chiefs' half on a regular occurrence, but the problem was they were just too good on offense. They scored more touchdowns than they did have, obviously, field goal attempts, and they didn't need to kick the field goals because they were scoring the touchdowns. So Bass actually went 100%. He went 1 from 1. There was a few instances where they could have gone for a field goal, but like I said, they just played too good on offense, so they were able to move the ball downfield with Josh Allen instead. So a loss on that. Voice went there, sorry. Took a loss on that one. So 6-4 on the week, plus 1.75 units. So I guaranteed profit heading into Monday Night Football, which is what I like to do. That's basically a free play then. So plus 1.75. We're up in the last 6 weeks, like I keep mentioning. Let me just bring up my record from the last 6 weeks. 38, 19, and 1 for 15.15 units. So up over 15 units in the last 6 weeks. So obviously, if you're in a group where you like people like betting and stuff like that, tell them to listen. It's fairly simple. I'm actually giving out winners on a regular basis now, and it's jarring to see people lose money on simple wages and stuff like that. I've been able to do it, obviously, consistently for 6 weeks. So if you know people that are into gambling or want to win some money, send them over here, and we'll get them straight. Your boy got you. I will do a little breakdown for the fantasy football that I had last week. It wasn't my best week, but it was okay. I actually tipped Jahmyr Gibbs as my captain. He finished on 69 rushing yards. He had 1 reception for 54 yards, and he had a touchdown as well. So his total was 19.3, but as he's captain, it doubles. So 38.6. And then obviously I had Douglas as well. I had his bet obviously for the receptions, and I had him in fantasy as well as my value option. He had 5 receptions and 59 yards, so he finished with 10.9, 10.9 fantasy points on that one as well. So not my best, but definitely not my worst. Could have done better, but obviously again, like I could have done worse. So let's head into Thursday night football.
Thursday night football.
So Thursday night football, it gives us another divisional game, and that's obviously two of my favourite things. So Thursday night football game, a divisional matchup. Can't get any better on a Thursday night football game. So we've got the Steelers and the Browns this week. To those of you who are new, I would have mentioned the Steelers a lot in my podcast before. So to those of you who are regulars or who have listened to an episode before, you're more than likely going to have heard me talk about the Steelers. I'm extremely high on this team, especially their defense. But today I'm going to focus on the Steelers' offense, as well as their defense. Heading into this week, I had 2 plays penciled in for this game. One being the Steelers team total over 20.5, and the other being the Steelers minus 3.5. Both have been relatively successful for the Steelers. Both have hit on a regular occurrence against the Browns. So I was extremely torn on which one of these two to pick. I actually believe both win, but I'm looking for the one with the most upside and increased chance to make this as comfortable as possible. So eventually, I actually set my sights on the Steelers minus 3.5. We're going to start off with the Browns, mainly because they've just been god awful. They've been truly awful this season. There was a lot of preseason expectations and a little bit of hype. Having a top defense, new improved offense with Deshaun Watson coming back and Nick Chubb coming back. And it wasn't long before we saw the Browns actually looking like they did five or so years ago, where they, on that terrible losing streak. The Browns on offense, they have the second least amount of points per game on average with 16.2. Their running back production is way down. They rank 4th from bottom in rushing yards per game, and their passing game isn't much better either. So their total yardage per game is the 6th lowest in the league, which averages 291. On top of that, the Browns have the lowest red zone scoring attempts per game. They average just 1.7 scoring attempt within the red zone. They've only scored more than 20 points this season just once. There's been no bright spark. Their offense has just been non-existent. Their defense as well hasn't really been much better. They allow the 9th most points per game on average of 24.8. That's actually increased to 28 in the last 3 games as well. This is primarily due to being able to stop the run. They rank 9th from bottom in rushing yards allowed per game with 131. And they actually allow a total of 342 yards to opponents, which I think that is bottom 10 as well. So the Browns, they'll now face their divisional rivals who have been extremely good on both sides of the football this year. The Steelers, they average 23 points per game this season, but in their last 5 games, they've actually heated up, and that's increased to 28. Like I said, where the Browns, they've struggled to score 20. They've only scored once in 10 games this year. The Steelers have scored 20 or more in 7 of the last 10 games. Their run-to-pass ratio has been fairly even. It's been fairly consistent on both sides. Rushing has been their most productive form of attack. They actually rush for the 8th most yards per game with 136, and that's actually allowed the Steelers to control most games. In terms of their defense, it's been their best attribute for a number of years. This year is obviously it's been no exception. Let me just have a quick rundown. So their defensive rankings in total yards allowed, they allow 305 yards per game, and that's the eighth lowest in the NFL. Points allowed per game, 16.2 points per game. That's second least in the NFL. Total touchdowns allowed, they've only allowed 17, and that's tied for first in the NFL for least touchdowns allowed per game. Passing defense, they do tend to allow a little bit. 214, so it's not necessarily high. That's 18th in the NFL. Passing touchdowns allowed, they've only allowed 9, so that's tied for second fewest in the NFL. Run defense, they've been very, very solid. They only allow 90 yards per game, which is the fourth lowest. Rushing touchdowns allowed, they've only allowed 8, and that's tied for third lowest. Moving to the red zone, they allow 48.3% touchdowns in the red zone, and that's 8th lowest in the NFL. Third down conversion rate as well. They have the 9th lowest with 38%. So, all in all, the Steelers defense excels in limiting points. They rank second in points allowed, tied first for touchdowns allowed. Run defense is, really, really strong. They allow 90 rushing yards per game, fourth lowest in the league. While their passing defense ranks as the 19th passing defense, they've actually been really effective at preventing touchdowns, and like I said, only allowed 9 touchdowns on the season, which is second fewest. So the Steelers are solid in the red zone and on third down, so they rank in top 10 in both categories. All in all, the defense performance has been key factor to the Steelers' success this season. It's actually helped them to their 8-2 record, and it's positioned them as one of the top teams in the league. Offensively, defensively, both solid for the Steelers. I believe this is Steelers' game. So for those reasons, I believe the Steelers will be able to contain the Browns and exploit the Browns on defense too. In the last 2 games, they've been able to beat 2 of the league's top offenses, the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Commanders. But in the 3 games prior to those 2 games, they played 3 offenses ranked in the bottom 10. So that's similar to the Browns. They are in the bottom 10 for offense as well. And they managed to keep them to an average of 12 points per game across those 3. So they actually allowed 18, 15, and 13. And they actually managed to beat them by an average of 14 points. So in this game, I believe it's going to be a similar outcome. The Browns this week will be no match for the Steelers, defense or offense. I believe the Steelers will take this by at least 4 points. I think it'll be a relatively comfortable game. So we're going to go 1 unit on Steelers minus 3.5 at odds of 1.9. So as always, the plays I make, I obviously use a lot of different sort of tools and things like that to be able to get my stats and things like that, and to basically write up my breakdowns, and to record these podcast episodes. I use obviously a lot of different things and tools and websites and all sorts to get all the information that I need. But one of the best ones I found recently is Pine Sports. They have an AI chatbot, and it's called Jackson. So if you don't know about Jackson, take a listen to this, and that'll explain a little bit about it. So guys, I have an exciting new announcement. I've officially been accepted as an ambassador for Pine Sports, and more particularly for the use of their new AI sports companion buddy, Jackson. Jackson is specifically engineered with Pine's powerful tools to deliver insights that go beyond common public opinion. Jackson taps into gated data sources that give you an edge. Whether you're looking for game predictions, injury updates, or in-depth player analysis, Jackson can deliver in seconds, and it might normally take you hours to research manually. Jackson offers real-time access to news, betting lines, player and team statistics, player prop information, and game schedules. Jackson can analyze historical performances, deliver valuable insights into betting opportunities, including EV picks, arbitrage opportunities, and fantasy projections. As a result of being a brand ambassador for Pine Sports, I've been given a 50% off discount code. If you would like to ride along with the plays myself and Jackson put together, or if you want to try out the research tool for yourself, I 100% recommend it, and I 100% recommend using my code ELITE at the checkout for 50% off. So yeah, like I said, get on Jackson. He's a very, very good tool that I use on a regular basis. I used him for this breakdown of my Steelers pick. Like I said, use my code ELITE for 50% off if you want to try them out. They do a 3-day free trial as well. So yeah, get on over there. The link will be in my link tree, which is in the bio to this, as is all my other social medias, all platform that I stream on for my podcasts. It would mean a great deal to me if you could head over to all those, give me a like, a follow, subscribe. It's all free. It just helps me, basically boost numbers, and it gets me a little bit further to help more and more people win money. So that's the end of this episode. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll be back on Friday for NFL Week 12 for Sunday and Monday Night Football. So yeah, good luck to everyone that's tailoring my plays or tailoring my play tonight. And I'll see you on Friday. Catch you later.